Hello Africa, welcome to today's episode of African Student Voices on AAU TV. And AAU TV is the voice of higher education in Africa, and today we are coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities here in Accra, Ghana. My name is Jemima Daladam-Duche and I'll be your host. Today we are discussing massification of enrollment in higher education in Africa, and I have here with me lovely guests who I'm going to introduce after the break. But don't also forget to follow us on our social media handles: Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, AAU TV _ African Universities on Twitter, and AAU TV official on Instagram. We'll be right back. Welcome back from the break, and this is African Students Voices on AAU TV, and today we are discussing massification of enrollment in higher education in Africa, and I have here with me lovely guests who I'm going to give a minute to introduce themselves. I'll start from the lady.
Hi, my name is Linda Ackah-Mensah. I'm a student of University of Ghana, studying political science and information studies, level 300.
All right, you're welcome, Linda.
Thank you.
I am Joseph Kuffour, studying law at GIMPA. I'm a 300 student. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You're both welcome. So today, as we know, we are discussing massification of enrollment in higher education in Africa. So we'll go straight and delve into our discussion. First of all, I'll be on you, Linda. What are your thoughts on the number of freshers enrolled in your institution every year?
Well, when you put it apart with the infrastructure available, of course, the number outweigh what the school can actually cater for. And so, in essence, it means that there's going to be low quality of education, and yes, there's going to be a lot of stress on the student population, because yes, we're supposed to be running shifts and doing a lot of things, because now infrastructure is limited and then the people are more.
Okay, all right. Kuffour, let me come to you. What are your thoughts on the freshers enrollment in your institution, GIMPA?
Okay, for GIMPA, I don't think as of now we have a problem with the number of students, because we don't have quite a number yet. But in the future we may. And right now, I think the facilities as proportionate against the the students are, let's say, they are balanced.
Okay.
There is no a lot, or I would say there is no pressure on the infrastructure as at now.
Okay.
But it can be, looking at the number of students that are enrolled in SHS. So in the future it might be, because there's no new buildings or no new infrastructures built or is going to be built in the school as of now. So I can say in the future there will be pressure, but as of now there is no pressure.
There's no pressure. Okay. But then, Kuffour, how easy or difficult is it to be enrolled into your institution, GIMPA, considering the application process and funding?
Okay, it's very difficult, I'll say, because looking at GIMPA, the application level, is still the manual way that people, the olden times they used to do, like going to buy the form as an office, and after filling the forms you have to go through a lot of process, let people sign and send it back to the school in the hard copy form, instead of maybe an online thing that maybe you fill their forms and you just send it through on an online platform. But it's not like that with GIMPA. And also with in terms of the funding, GIMPA, we pay quite an amount of school fees. We pay like 12,000. An average student, like, let's say my year badge, we pay like 12,000 a year.
For a year.
So let's say 6,000 a semester, excluding your hostel fees and the rest. You get it. So in funding, it's really, really difficult, because in the recent economy and everything, who can pay school fees of 12,000 and also pay for our hostels? We don't have in-campus hostels. We have like outside campus hostels, which you can pay 5,000 for a semester. Wow. So like 10,000 a year.
So is there any structure for your fees payment, or you have to pay within the first semester? Or is there any structure?
Okay, they have the structure of paying it semesterly. Like you can pay for, let's say, first semester, and second semester you can pay for that. But apart from that, that one you have a limitation of time You have up to some time. If you don't pay, you can't register.
Oh,
so it's very, very difficult in GIMPA.
Okay, so let me come to you, Linda. Still, how easy or difficult is it to be enrolled in Legon, considering the application and funding process?
For Legon, it's very, very easy. I mean, I think it's the easiest considering all other universities in Ghana. Because you just go to any branch of bank.
And then any branch of bank?
Yeah, any branch of bank that is affiliated to Legon, of course. Because not all banks are.
Exactly.
So you go to any affiliated bank, you pay, and then you get a serial number and a code. So you log into, there's a website, you do every other thing. So you fill the form online, you submit online, the list is uploaded online. So everything you just do not have to forget your serial number, because if you forget it, then it means that you're doomed. So it's just about that. Legon is very, very easy to get in. And for scholarship
funding,
and funding, our school fees is quite moderate. When I went to school, I paid 1,006 cedis.
Wow. That's for a year or a semester?
Yes, for a year.
Interesting.
So that is 1,060 cedis. Yes.
Wow.
It's very, very moderate, and unless of course you're a fee paying student, that's maybe you pay about 5,000. And there's some scholarship schemes in place. So even if you enter school, I mean, before you enter school, you're supposed to fund for yourself. But then when you get to school, you can get scholarship opportunities. Recently they introduced the no guarantor scholarship scheme. So with just your student ID and your student details, you can get the scholarship. And there are other scholarships running through the school and other organizations that bring on board other scholarship schemes. So when you get to Legon, you can get these scholarships. It's really about how the students become serious about getting them. Yes, and that's just about it. I would say.
So with your funding, let me get a little deep in that. Is there a structure for it? Because I think the last time I had someone, I think on the same platform, a Legon student, I think, applied for some funds, and it took a while, and it looks like the funds wasn't coming in. Is there a period that you should expect?
Yes, it will definitely take a while, because I mean, everybody wants funding, unless of course you think that you can really pay the fees. I mean, the fees is quite moderate, but when it comes to accommodation, that's where we have a problem, because now there are not a lot of hostels and halls on campus, because the number they take is very, very vast, considering the number of years residency on campus. So now campus, I think the least you can pay is 1,000, close to 1,000
for a semester.
No, for a year. And those are the traditional halls. You don't take a lot of people in those halls, and for diaspora you're paying like close to 3,000. So accommodation and residency outweigh the school fees. So if you're in Accra, I mean, you're lucky. But then we have people coming from Tamale and and all those people, and then they are the ones most of the time they would like to consider for these scholarships. But then there's some people in Accra who live far away from school as well. So the process is quite vigorous, because they really have to find out who really needs the scholarship. So you cannot really blame them when it takes so much time, because they have to really find the genuinity of you asking for funding and all that.
Okay, so you spoke about the number of students that are enrolled. They are a lot. So are your facilities also a lot to accommodate the students?
I don't know what to say about this, because for residency they are not. But I mean, a class can contain about 1,000 students.
Whoa!
And but then there's one lecturer.
One lecture for 1,000 students.
Yes, so that's where the problem comes in. The classes are big enough; they are vast to accommodate almost everybody. They can even accommodate about 2,000. There are some lecture halls that are big enough like that. But then it is one lecturer, so it's not really about the facilities. It's about the personnel. Because now a lecturer will not want to give you assignments and mark, because 1,000 students, there are too many assignments. So we just write interim assessments. Those are like the midterm exams. Even those ones, a lot of lecturers will not give, because they feel like, we can't mark it. So they just wait for exams, and that's like takes a toll on the students, because now you've not assessed that until exams period, and then most of us would fail. So if you don't up your game, it means that you're failing. You're on your way to failure.
Okay, Kuffour, let me come to you. Do you think your institution have the capacity to absorb an exponential increase in student population?
Okay, let me also talk more about the infrastructures like this, I say, okay, we have, as of now, we can accommodate more. But in terms of personnel, as my sister said earlier, we can't. Because right now, as of now, although we have various facilities to accommodate the students that we have presently, we lack personnel.
Okay.
And let's say a teacher will come or a lecturer will come to class, and maybe there is A, B, and C class. He'll go to the A class and go and teach or go and lecture something.
Yeah.
Let's say that's the first time he's lecturing that particular topic. He coming to the next class, let's say the following day to come and lecture, he will definitely leave some things out.
That's true.
So it will put pressure on the students to go and read more instead of getting maybe more information from the lecturers. You get it? And GIMPA, right now, we can have a lecturer who is like lecturing from level 100 to 400 and even adding the evening students to it.
Wow.
So it will be stressful.
Yeah.
So let's say you have an exams, he has maybe he's teaching level 100 to 400 and he also have the evening school, let's say 2 classes added to his classes which he teaches. It will be difficult for him to actually take time to mark our exam scripts, for him to actually give us the adequate marks we deserve or we think is fit for us. You get it? So they will just brush through it and give you any marks they feel like, okay, it's okay for you. You get it? So in terms of personnel, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, Linda, let me come to you. Do you think Legon have the capacity to absorb an exponential increase in student population?
When we're looking at accommodation and residency, we don't.
Okay.
But then when we're looking at the academic infrastructure in itself, as in the classrooms, like I mentioned, the classrooms are very, very big and vast enough to accommodate them. So unless, of course, they increase the residency. Because some people who would maybe apply and will not be in Accra and its surroundings would definitely have to look for a way to come here. So they have to work on this, because if this doesn't work, then it means that they do not have the capacity to absorb extra students.
All right. So, in 2021, a study from the University of Cameroon revealed that high rate of attendance and completion in secondary high schools is a main driver of massification in Cameroon higher education. In view of this, what are your contributing factors to the increasing number of students in your institution? What do you think is driving that?
The first thing I would say is free education.
Okay.
And I think there's so much awareness on the fact that now if you don't go to school, you're nobody.
Exactly.
And if you don't go to school, you would not get any decent job to do. So I think it stems from senior high school, and I agree totally with that particular statistics. Yes, because I mean, if you don't go to SHS and you finish in Ghana, what can you do? Nothing. Yeah. So everybody wants to become somebody. Even if they won't be like everybody's attention, they just want to be able to fend for themselves. And if you just have an SHS certificate, I don't think you can really go anywhere in Ghana. Yeah. So I think it's a major problem. It's not problem, but the cause to the massification in the tertiary institutions.
So you think it's a free education that is causing it?
Yeah, not like I mean, if you make it look like I'm against the free education.
No, it's not like you're against it, but then right now that is what is driving people into our institutions.
Yeah, so
it's increasing the population. So.
Yeah, so the free education should have a regulation, because it looks like they're just taking everybody, and even if you don't really pass, there are massification that side as well. So in turn, it has like an effect on tertiary institutions. So yes, the free education is the problem.
Okay, Kuffour, what do you think?
Okay, I'll say the free education is let's say a contributing factor, but it's not just the whole thing that is causing the whole massification problem. Because as the world keeps on going, people are dying and people are giving birth. So the population is always increasing and the young ones are also coming. And right now, in this current world right now, this century, everyone wants their children to be educated or get to a higher education level. So far as people are giving birth and they want to school their children, there's still going to be massification. The only way that the massification can be solved is maybe we should educate the public more on maybe family planning issues. And because right now, if I give birth right now, I want my child to be educated or be an illiterate. You get it? So whether there is free education or not, I want to school my child. The free education is just to ease up the stress of educating your child. But so far as people are giving birth, there's still going to be massification unless there are measures put in place to curb that. You get it? So
But
that's
then I have a question with human competency. I mean, if we are many in the country and they were all going to school, it is the best.
Yeah, it's the best, but
because
it's still going
then
to
we have
increase
human.
you have human resources, but
So
will you
maybe
give
more,
birth
we
and let
should
your
need
child?
more human resources and more infrastructure.
So they
in
giving
Yes.
birth, they giving birth in essence is good. That's my point.
It's not good.
How is it not good?
too much.
It's too much. Someone can give birth to, let's say, 7 children. How? Why?
Okay.
What if the person can actually take care of the children?
the children?
So I think maybe more infrastructure would help our institute.
If you can take care of your child, can you build a school for your child to school?
no, you see, so that's why the regulation in the free SHS is needed.
Yeah.
So now they don't just take anybody at all; they take the best, the quality.
see-
So you have to fight for it.
You
If
see-
they go through
you
like
see,
vigorous selection,
This thing started way before free education.
Okay.
You get it?
no, it's just like in recent times that there has
people
been
have money.
massification.
People have money to school their children, and you think maybe okay, the free education is helping those who have money. Some people even don't care about the free education. Some people don't
True.
even care about the free
Yes,
education.
that's true.
They can school their children from nursery to
Right
let's say
to the top.
their PhD.
Yes.
You get it? People have money, so it's not about let's say the free education. The free education ease up some stress on people that are let's say are struggling to take care of their children. You get it? But it's not mainly the cause of that massification. Well, let's say I have my money, I have 5 children, and I want to take them all to a higher education, or let's say university or the tertiary level.
Okay.
No matter what, I can fund them. So me sending all of them there without let's say free education has come. Let's say free education is there. Although they have eased up, university they are not paying, like they are not doing free education in universities. You get it? The parent will have to pay fees. You get it? So regardless of the free education, I feel like regardless, it's not really
A major
factor. Because right now, it's just how the world is going right now. Everyone wants to be educated. Okay, I want to stand somewhere and I want to also feel like I'm valued.
Yeah.
You get
that's
it?
true.
But then that's why I asked, as of like 3 years ago, when free education came and then just graduated a few people from senior high school to tertiary, what were the numbers? The numbers as at the time and now are
It's
very
different.
vast. More people are now coming to school. So what is the rapid course?
The rapid course is very simple. Many people weren't able to afford the SHS level, and
So
they were
now-
still home.
Yeah.
So
You
now
get
they
it?
can't
They
afford
can't
so
afford
it's
it.
free
They-
SHS.
yeah, it's free education. So they have, I would say, most of the people that were already home are now through with the SHS by now. So the new ones coming are those ones who maybe were still young and now going to pass through the same system. You get it? So it's not like the free education. That's why I said earlier that it has contributed to that.
Yes.
But you can't say it's a major
It's
factor.
a major factor.
You
It's
get
not a
it?
major factor.
Yeah.
Okay. It has been an interesting conversation, but then we'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with our conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break, and this is African Students' Voices on AAU TV. And don't forget, AAU TV is the voice of higher education in Africa. You can also follow the conversation on our social media handles: Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, AAU TV _ African Universities on Twitter, and AAU TV Official on Instagram. Welcome back from the break. So now let's continue with our discussion. Let me be on you, Linda. How is your institution coping with the challenges of massive student enrollment and pedagogical quality? Linda?
I don't think we're coping. I think we're surviving.
Okay.
A day at a time.
Yeah.
Because, like I mentioned, with lecturers and then the limited personnel.
Okay.
So now they have to bring in a few changes. I mean, we have an e-learning platform. It's
Okay.
called Sakai.
Yeah.
So now a lecturer wouldn't want to give an assignment or an IE that he would have to mark on his own. So instead of writing essays, he will not give you essays. He'll give you objective questions, and the site would mark it for him.
Yes.
So it would come as, and then those ones, because it is all right, like it's technology, and technology doesn't really favor some things, you get a lot of mistakes and you get a lot of wrongs. So like if someone is reading your essay, the person would be able to infer that, oh, okay, this is what the person actually wants to write, but the person is not getting the right words. But then technology will just mark you down. Because it is not exactly what it is. And so I'm not saying I don't know if we're coping. I don't want to use coping, because coping is like, okay, you found a way around it. But we haven't found a way around it. We're surviving a day at a time. Because like that always complains that our marks are not our marks. They are not supposed to be, that's what we're getting. And we're doing some online studies as well. So now there are tutorials that have been going on online. And because the class is like a class as large as 1,000 students, we have about 5 tutorial sessions within the week. So the lecturers have TAs and they try to meet us, but still the tutorials are even like large numbers. I mean, the tutorial should be at most 25. But I go to a tutorial class and we're like 100. So
just too much.
So we're coping. No, we're not coping. We're surviving.
Okay, cool. Let me come to you. How do you think the institutions are coping with the current challenges of?
Let me talk about my institution. This GIMPA, we are not doing well. Because right now, let me even throw more light onto the teaching quality, the quality of the teaching. You get it? A lecturer can come to class, or maybe I lecture constitutional law, let's say level 100 A, B, D. Then even I have maybe D and E. Also that class, and I want to lecture. Maybe I come to Monday class, I have it with level 100, the day student, the A. I'll come and lecture them. Fine. Maybe the rest of the class, maybe I have them too on Tuesdays. You get it? And Tuesday, and most of our lecturers are also lawyers, and they are working. You get it? And they do that as a side job. You get it? So they will come to class. They will say, okay, those from Tuesdays, let's say out to Friday, I'm having an online class on maybe Wednesday evening. And maybe on the Wednesday evening, you have a class. That's true. Maybe from 9 to 4. You are done with your class. You go to your hostel. You be in your room. Then the lecturer will send you the Zoom link. They will have a Zoom platform. You send you the Zoom link to join the Zoom. You're already tired. You have absorbed enough knowledge or enough studies in school already, and you are in the hostel. You are trying to rest, and you have another Zoom lecture. The lecture will come. You may have even network problems, and you won't even hear. You get it? So at the end of the day, you have gained nothing.
That's true.
So it's actually affecting the students, but it's benefiting the lecturers, because it gives them ease, because they will have justification if they don't come to class. They will say, okay, I came this day and this day, and I'm tired. You get it? So it's okay, it's understandable. But as for the students, you have no other choice than to join. You get it? So this mass admission of students into the tertiary level is really affecting, because right now, let's say I'm a school, I have a school, and I have this type of I have this number of lecturers. You get it? And due to let's say the mass number of students graduating from the senior high school coming to the tertiary level, I may not know the number that will come. I can also say, okay, I'm taking this number of people, although I'm taking this number. I can't just say I'm taking it. Therefore, I will take protocols. I'll take protocols too. So at the end of the day, I've already increased the number I wanted to take. You get it? And I know the number of teachers I have. That's why I asked for that number. But if you say, okay, it's a system. This word is a system. Right now, if I'm GIMPA and maybe I'm taking this number of students, and an MP comes to my school to take this person to school in my school, and I don't take, one way or the other, I'll go and meet him somewhere, and maybe I want something. He will just say,
"It's somewhere."
It's reality. That's the fact. You get it? So I'll definitely take protocols, and at the end of the day, I'll have massive number of students in my school. You get it? And it will not favor the student, because let's say right now at GIMPA, there are 200 students in the evening school. They are being divided into A, B, C, and D. You get it? The lecturer, maybe there's one lecturer lecturing all of them, maybe in different separate days. You get it? The lecturer will be tired. You can't say that because he's a lecturer, he's supposed to teach everything. You definitely come to class, or the rest he will do it online, so that he won't go through all that stress. He will do all the class in like online, sit in his comfort and say whatever he wants to say, whether you hear it or not. It's not his problem. You get it? So it's really affecting the quality of the teaching and everything.
So let me come to you, Linda. According to Mohammed Vet's 2014 study on massification, he says if the growth in private higher education was regulated and quality controlled, it would relieve this pressure on the massification of enrollment in higher education in Africa. Do you agree with
Yes, I completely agree. Because yes, like I mentioned, with the free SHS policy, it is free. Yes, so you're not going to pay any money. But then there should be some criteria. And it should be very vigorous that not anybody at all can get in. For example, like how the law school is in University of Ghana. No matter how you're passionate about law, if you don't get a grade 7 or 8, you won't get in. Like myself, I didn't get grade 7 or 8, so I didn't get in. So now I would have to up my game to be able to get in the next time I apply. Right? So if it is through a vigorous selection, then the best people would win, thereby bringing out just quality people and not just putting anybody anywhere. So
the way Kuffour is looking at you, Kuffour, what do you think? Do you agree with it?
I'll say yes and no.
Okay. And your reasons are?
Because if there is Legon and there is, let's say, Westland College, will you choose Legon or you choose Westland College? You choose Legon, definitely.
No, why do you think I'll choose Legon?
Because you want to be in a school that has name or is popular. Every single person, you can't lie to me. You can sit here and say, okay, oh, me, I'll go to the Westland. It's a lie.
I'll lie to
That's flat. It's it's a lie. It's not true. You get it? So, me, I feel like they should maybe build more facilities in those popular schools. You get it? To be able to accommodate that number that is coming. You get it? That number that is coming. So you can't just say the improving maybe the quality in the private university will keep that situation. No, it won't. For me, it won't. Because every single person, if there is, let's say, KNUST there and there is a Sansi College, you prefer KNUST to a Sansi College. That's a fact. Everyone wants to go to maybe a school that will say, oh, okay, me, I'm coming from this school. You get it? So increasing the quality in the private sector and whatever they want to do to them, it won't work. It will just everyone will still if someone does not get. Why do you think they don't have private universities there that people apply for, let's say Legon and KNUST, and they still went home to apply the next year? No, there are universities there that they even need people to come. But they are not getting people to come. You get it? People just want those kind of schools, like those big schools that they will go and they will say, okay, yeah, I'm coming from this school. You know, in some families, if you go to, okay, let's say Legon, KNUST, you are a prominent person just for going to that school. And people will just want to opt for that school rather than
like
go for
the. But there's another flip side to the private sector. I think that because private sectors like higher education, tertiary institutions, private sectors are usually paid. The people that get to go there are people without good grades. Not entirely, but a lot of people who go to private schools didn't get extreme good grades, so like maybe 18 or 20. So then they do not have the opportunity to go to the public schools. So they would go to the private schools. And that has been a notion that everybody has run with. Myself, I wanted to do law, and then I was told that with the grade I had, I would get Central University. Central University is a private school. So why is it that grade could get me to Central and then let me do law, but not Legon? So everybody thinks that private schools are not too good of a school because they do not take the best people. So now if they start taking people through the vigorous selection, they would also start to get a name. Legon was nowhere until it became a name. It was a premier university. I mean, everything is built from scratch. So if you want to really get somewhere, you have to start from somewhere, and you have to be consistent about it. You don't start and stop in the way.
No matter how hard, let's say, Central University try, it can never be compared to Legon. Simple. It's very, very simple.
And why do you think that?
Because the number of students even Legon has produced, and that those students are maybe in higher positions. You Central
the
University,
point.
you have not reached there. Like
you
are not there yet.
Because they don't take the best.
And you will never be there, because by the time you get to where Legon is, Legon has like
power.
You get
but you see,
so
that's
Legon
the
is not static.
Perfection
it's
is
going, and you are coming. By the time you reach where he is, he has also exceeded where he is.
That is exactly my point.
So you can never say that. Okay, they should also try. They can try whatever they want to try. They will never. And people will still keep on going to Legon and Decay University than going to the Central University.
Of course.
And let me say, those schools, not that they don't do those vigorous selection of students. Yeah, GIMPA like this, people actually opt for GIMPA because they feel like GIMPA is a good, like the law school in GIMPA like this. People just opt for GIMPA because GIMPA is a good law school. They teach, really, they teach. They don't just lecture.
Yeah.
That one I give to GIMPA. Okay. Because right now, me per se, I got law in Legon. I got law also in King University. But my father was like, no, you are going to GIMPA.
And why? Why?
Because GIMPA teaches. And if you want to really
learn the
law.
Legon doesn't teach.
Say, Legon, do you have math students in the class? The lecturer will come and stand there and say whatever he wants to say. You might not even hear. You get it? But GIMPA, Legon, you can even decide not to go to class. GIMPA, you have to sign an attendance. If you fail to come to class, you write an exam. And you fail your exams, you have to pay per paper. You have to pay like 600 cedis to resit.
Okay.
So that will even motivate you to learn.
To learn, not to fail.
So my father was like, straight, you are going to GIMPA.
Okay.
Regardless of your good grade, whatever you are going, you get it. And I have a couple of friends who also experienced the same thing I experienced. You get it. So it's not that those schools are not selecting people with good grades or something. No.
Okay.
But they are lenient when it comes to certain situations because they are now coming.
Yeah.
Imagine you creating a school and maybe you are in a vicinity where there are cocoa farmers and mostly you will definitely accept the cocoa farmers. You get it.
Before you put your things in place.
You get it. Before you put your things in place and later maybe you say, if you are not ready to pay this amount of school fees, don't send your word to my place. You get it. So it's just a system.
Okay.
Just a system. And you can never say, okay, since the private universities are taking maybe people with bad grades or maybe with
I'm not saying all of them.
I'm not saying all. No. That's not also what I'm saying. I'm saying that maybe because that there is that perception that they're private school. Oh, GIMPA like this is not a private school; it's a government school.
Yes.
But they run their own affairs. That's it. But those schools, you can never be compared to Legon and those King University. Whatever you do, you cannot be compared to them. No matter what.
So you were mentioning something about the fact that Central University can never be at par with Legon.
Never.
I completely agree because perfection in itself is a myth. The reason being that as you are coming, I'm going, I'm not waiting for you. But then at least try and catch up. It's not like you catch up.
You can't.
But you can't catch up.
You can't catch up. But it doesn't mean you should feel comfortable where you are because then we'll leave you behind.
Who said you are feeling comfortable?
It's like this entrepreneurship thing and adapting technology and all those things. As you sit back and watch, now Nokia is out of the market because other companies have moved on. They have.
See, you're not a Nokia person. You know, people are addicted to Nokia. Do you know every time they buy Nokia? Do you know Nokia is introducing new phones?
You see, that is the point. It's because they don't have money to buy the new phones. You're still not getting me. So it's like if the bigger ones are not available, you will have to settle. You don't have a choice. For example, let's use Ashesi University is like a clear-cut example.
Yes.
When did Ashesi come?
Recently.
Legon is way far older than Ashesi.
Yes.
Way older than Ashesi. Ashesi is new. But then when they are counting good schools in Ghana, in fact, almost all the capacity building workshops I have gone to, when they see me and they see an Ashesi student, they pick the Ashesi student and let me sit down.
You know why?
Okay, tell me why.
Because there's this perception that, okay, when you go to Ashesi, you're a DB. There's a lie.
It's not just the DB.
It's just
but there's a perception out there that they pick the best people.
Yes.
They don't pick the best
people. That's the perception out there that they pick the best people.
They don't.
Because you would have to write an essay, even as you've gotten into Ashesi. I applied to Ashesi. I couldn't write the essay. And then there's MasterCard scholarship. There's another one too in tech. But then in Ashesi, you write about 3 essays before you are picked into the MasterCard Scholarship Foundation in Ashesi. But in tech, it's not like that. It's Legon to there's MasterCard, but it is too comfort. And I am on that scholarship. And there's no vigorous like the way Ashesi is. So I had to just give up. So through the vigorous selection, they will be able to fine-tune the people they want into the institution.
You're getting the
please
whole
let me
concept wrong.
finish.
You're
Please
getting
let
the
me
whole
finish.
concept
Because
wrong.
I want to put a point across that you don't have to just sit down and say that, okay, because you never reach here, then you don't have to try at all. Because if you sit down, you'll be lost. You will not move forward.
Yeah.
So at least if you start moving, like if Central University or Academic City should start picking up a few things from Ashesi, you'd see that their name will also start rising. I went to Academic City a couple of months ago, I think last December, we were doing Worship Foundation. They were doing this, it's a waste company. So they were using bottles for Christmas tree. And then they had a partnership with Academic City. So went to do it. Then I saw this, I was like, oh, the school is nice, big. And then I engaged with a few of them. It looks like most of the people there were from international countries. So I asked a couple of them, and they were like, oh, they are like 25 or 30 in a class. I'm like, oh, why didn't I know this? Why didn't I come here? Because I would have felt very, very comfortable. Unlike Legon, that you'd have to walk, move about, stress yourself. A class of 1,000 people, when you raise your hand, I don't call you because we are too many. You get it? And then she's like, okay, the reason is that Academic City is not out there. Then why do you think Academic City is not out there? Because they're a private institution. And then they think that, like you mentioned, it's only DBs. And DBs, well, even if you are not even if you're not an intellectual, because you have the money to pay, they will still get you in. So if I have grade 18 and I want law in Central University or Academic City, I would get, because I would pay for it. You know, private universities are payable. But then in a public university, hey, you are going to a public university, you want law, you have 18 and someone has 8. It's a public university. Who do you think they'll pick over you? You think they'll pick you 18 over 8? No, of course not. So then 18, I'll go to a private university. So I agree with his saying and his statistics, because I think that when they start applying the vigorous selection that the public universities are doing, they'll be like on the same level to get in, not to be at the same place like when you get out. But then to get in, and so now they would choose quality over quantity. Like the best people will always come out, and if you are always breeding the best people, then it means that they are going to be best people in the society. They are going to do other things and bring the name of the school.
So what should happen to those who are not good in academics?
Why are you not good? Life is a race. Life is a race. If you can't go for what you want, then somebody else will go for it.
But you should also know that we all don't have that capacity to.
Then education is not for you.
Like with everybody, it's not just like
education is not for you.
Okay, well, so let's move on with our discussion. Linda, let me be on you. How do you think? How do you see the uptake of virtual education in Africa in the face of limited physical infrastructure in our institutions of higher learning? Will it be the new normal? What do you think?
Yes. I think it would be the new normal, because even as the measures of coronavirus were limited, I think 2 days ago, President mentioned that nose mask is no longer mandatory.
Yes,
we are still doing online things, and it's not because there are no infrastructure. Like I mentioned, the classes are huge, vast, very, very vast. So it's not because, but then because the classes are, the number of people in the class are too many, and there's just one lecturer. So then he has to do tutorials, and the tutorials will definitely have to be online to absorb everybody. So the person that couldn't answer a question in the general class, about 1,000 students, will now be able to ask a question. Yes. So even in spite of the fact that COVID still exists and that the pandemic is still, that is not basically like what they are centering the online studies on. And now a lecturer cannot be in Ghana and still hold sessions. So it gives him ease, it gives him convenience, and then he can do a lot of things with. So I think we are growing, but then there's a caveat. Online studies are very, very destructive.
Wow.
So if you do not use the right media, like for example Zoom allows you to mute everybody.
Yes.
If you are the host.
Yes.
But a lecturer that doesn't know how to use Zoom, like yesterday in my class, people were making noise and he was still speaking. And he doesn't care if you can hear or you cannot hear. He's just going because he's not there with you. He's even thinking that you're not even paying attention. You've just logged in and you're somewhere. So that's the caveat. But I think it would be the new normal. People would eventually like get used to it. And then we'll move forward because technology has come to stay. We can't leave it behind.
Okay, Kuffour, what do you think?
Okay, for the first time, I'll agree with her that it can be the new normal. Yes.
Okay.
It can be the new normal, but we have a long way to go if you want it to actually stay. We have a long way to go. We have to actually develop. Maybe we can even develop in technology wise. We have to also, like, for it to be a new normal, you have to educate most of the lecturers, as she said. Most of them don't even know how the app works and those platform works. You guys, we have to educate them. But it being a new normal, it also has like a bad side on the students. Let's say a lecturer comes to Zoom, he talks, blah 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 blah, he leaves. Maybe I may have a network problem.
Okay.
And he won't stop because I have a network problem. You get it? So he will continue to teach or lecture whatever he wants. He came to lecture and leave. And I won't get anything. You get it? So if we want it to be, it can be a new normal, but we have a long way to go. We have to actually put in a lot of effort before we can actually make it stay. Because if you don't put in an effort to make that work for students and the teachers as well, it won't stay. Because okay, you are lecturing me, you come to the online, you don't teach me anything. I would definitely go to write to the school that okay, when we do the online lectures, I don't get anything, and I'll rather feel and come and pay money to write receipts. You get it? So I'll protest, and that will not make it work. You get it? So we have to put in a lot of hard work before we can make it a new normal.
Okay, so we are almost coming to the end of the show, but lastly, Kuffour, let me be on you. What measures do you think can be put in place to check massification of enrollment in our higher education institutions?
Okay, as I said earlier, we have to educate the general public on let's say the usage of maybe birth controls and to reduce the population, like the population growth a little, because right now the population keeps on growing rapidly, like it's serious. And secondly, for the free education, we have to also, not that we should deprive students of their right to education, but we should also, before maybe a child from JHS can go to SHS, we should check the quality, because as of now, since the free education started, a student can aggregate 40 and be going to let's say Opokwari or the big schools. You get it? So they have to put like a check system in place to actually pick quality students. Or average, like quality and average students to go to the school, that who qualify to go to the school. You get it? So that in that system, if that system is put in place, it's not everyone that will go. You get it? So it will help curb the situation a little, and also the birth control education will also help.
Okay, Linda, let me come to you. What can be put in place to check massification of enrollment?
I don't think I know so much about the measures.
Okay.
But then I think that we can preach that education is not the only way to go.
Okay.
Because, I mean, after SHS, you have the basics of education. So you don't necessarily have to get a degree to do a lot of things. We can start preaching entrepreneurship. We can start preaching being tech savvy, because now a lot of people who are even in tertiary do not know how to create websites and all those things. And then those things are quite easy to learn when you put your mind to it and you get it right. Yes, so we can create a system where these people can be absorbed. So not exactly education, because not everybody is interested in education. We just force them because there's no other, alternative to go. So we can make entrepreneurship very, very vibrant. We can make technology vibrant. And we can absorb some people from there. So there's going to be like a clear cut, and like you mentioned, I agree with you as well. We should control quality through vigorous selection. So that way the best person would win to get into tertiary institutions for both public and private universities.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming. It's been an interesting conversation. Education, or let me say schooling in higher education institutions, is not the only way to go. You can also start some entrepreneurship business on your own. It's been African Students' Voices on AAU TV, and today we discussed massification of enrollment in higher education in Africa. And I've been your host, Jemima Daladem Doche. You can also follow us on our social media handles: Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, AAU TV _ African Universities on Twitter, and AAU TV Official on Instagram. See you same time next time. Bye.